So here's mine, and this is also for a one I put in for a bracket challenge. All
Mm-hmm.
right, so here's what I got. So I have Duke over Siena. I have TC over Ohio State. I have St. John's over UNI. KU over Cal Baptist. Louisville over South Florida. Michigan State over North Dakota State. UCLA over UCF. UConn over Furman. As we go to, and I'll just do the whole entire thing for the East bracket, and then I'll do
Yep.
the same thing corresponding. Um, and then I have Duke beating TCU, St. John's beating in a battle of legendary coaches, Bill Self versus Patino. Patino wins that, so I have Duke and St. John's in the Sweet 16. I have Louisville losing to Michigan State, and then UConn advancing. So Michigan State, UConn, and Duke versus St. John's in the Sweet 16. And then in my Elite Eight is Duke versus Michigan State. I think Michigan State gets this is Izzo's time of the year. Izzo takes the Spartans to the Elite Eight. I actually have Michigan State advancing over Duke to the Final Four.
Right.
So yeah,
Yep.
so Michigan State is in my Final Four. All right, and I also here we go. For the West bracket, Arizona over Long Island, Utah State over Villanova. I have High Point upsetting Wisconsin, Arkansas beating Hawaii. I have BYU beating Texas or NC State, Gonzaga beating Kennesaw. I have Mizzou upsetting Miami and Purdue beating Queens. In my round 32, Arizona over Utah State. I have Arkansas over High Point, BYU over Gonzaga, and then Purdue over Mizzou. Sweet 16, I have BYU Purdue, and I think BYU beats Purdue, and it sets up a matchup for Arizona and BYU in the Elite Eight. I have Arizona advancing to the Final Four. As we go down in the Midwest bracket, Michigan over the 16 seed, St. Louis over Georgia. I have Akron upsetting Tech, Bama making it to have Bama making it to face Akron, Tennessee beating either Miami, Ohio, or SMU, Virginia over Wright State, Kentucky over Santa Clara, and Iowa State over Tennessee State. I have Iowa State beating Kentucky, and then Tennessee beating Virginia. So I have Tennessee making it to the Sweet 16 against Iowa State. And then I have Michigan and Alabama. So Michigan advances and Iowa State advances. And then I have Iowa State edging out Michigan to go to the Final Four. And then finally in the South region, Houston over Idaho, A&M over St. Mary's. I have Illinois over Penn, North Carolina over VCU, Nebraska over Troy, Vanderbilt over McNeese. I have Iowa, the Hawks, and Florida. Florida puts belt to ass to Iowa. And then I have a SEC matchup in the Sweet 16, Florida and Vandy. And on the bottom, I have Illinois beating North Carolina. So we have Houston, Illinois, and Vanderbilt, Florida. I have Florida advancing to the Elite Eight against Houston. And then I have Florida making it to the Final Four. So my Final Four, I have Michigan State versus Florida and Arizona, Iowa State. And you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna emotionally hedge this one, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm going off of the theory that it is hard to beat a team 3 times. Iowa State will be on the right side of a buzzer beater, this time by a Milan Mancelovic 3. And this is going to be basically a win-win situation for me. And Iowa State and Florida play each other in the national title game. Unfortunately, I think we fall short, but Florida wins the national championship, goes back to back for the first time since 2006, 2007. And this is a team that I would gladly lose to. Obviously, as y'all know, I'm a big Florida fan too, so this would be a win-win situation for me.
Yeah.
Although yeah, so Florida is my national championship. Yeah, so
All right. So
that's mine.